Okay, this is going to be the last time that these videos, or the monthly recap, is filmed at one time. I am getting better at editing. I have better editing software now. So I can actually like clip them together and like make a cohesive story. So I'm going back to the way it was on the ship, where I would film like clips at the beginning, clips at the end, some clips in the middle, and do it like that. Because I can have more creativity now with this editing software, which I really like. So this is the last full recap, and then next month I'm gonna do the little clips, and then at the end I'm gonna come back and be like, hey, so this is what happened this month, and give awards. I'm still doing awards in this video at the end, but we have to recap what I've actually finished in June. June was Pride Month, so I read a ton of queer romances. And then July, get excited, because July is going to be my birthday month. I was born in July. And so I'm going to do a ton of books that I've been meaning to read and just haven't had the energy for, the time for. But those I'm getting to in July. So July is going to be super fun because it's my birthday month. So we'll go through those as well. Okay. First book I read for June, and now with my editing software I can put it like right here, the cover, was Love, Hate, and Clickbait. I gave it a 3 out of 5 at the time. I think now I would rank it a lot lower, just because there was so many bits in the book. I'll give a plot summary and then we'll get into it. Love, Hate, and Clickbait is about two political pundits who are working on the same campaign to get a woman elected to the presidency. And it's like an enemies to lovers, where they're being used in the political campaign to show that the candidate is okay with queer people and like that she's inclusive because she's a Democrat. I think that you could take this book and take out all of the deleted scenes that you didn't get to see and put it with all of, and take out all of the scenes that were taken out. This is getting into spoilers because I don't know how to talk about this not. They took out the engagement, fake engagement. They took out, I don't even remember, I just remember I was mad about the fake engagement being taken out. But I feel like if you took all the scenes that like took a page to describe and was like, oh yeah, by the way, we got engaged and this is how it went. If you actually showed me those scenes, the book would have been a lot better. It would have been at 5 out of 5. This book is a wonderful depiction, I think, to read in a writing class, because you don't really understand show me, don't tell me until you read the book. I feel like a lot of like storytelling can be learned through this book, and I don't mean to like rag on the guy. I gave him a 3 out of 5 on the book, on Love, Hate, and Clickbait. I just personally think that it could have been written a lot better, and I don't know if I will read from this author in the end. I've already given this book to a little free library in my hometown. I don't know if I'll be reading from them again. I really didn't like this book. I really didn't. And I still gave it a 3 out of 5 because I was trying, because I could see what they wanted to do and it wasn't happening. And I wonder if they had like a page requirement where it was like, you can only write in this many pages, and they had like 600 pages. Because I feel like there was so much of the story that just got cut, and I don't understand why. and I want the full story. I want all the deleted scenes. I did not drive with this book, unfortunately. Okay. Enough of love, hate, and clickbait. Then I read the Heartstopper yearbook, which is essentially just Alice Oseman going through and being like, so this is how I wrote it, and blah, 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 blah. And so I thought it was super cool, but, like, you need to have read Heartstopper to, like, fully get it. And I've read almost all of Alice Oseman's books. I've read, or I've watched all of the show. So I really loved it. I gave Heartstopper yearbook a 5 out of 5 just because, like, I am a fan of the series. But if you're not a fan of the series, I wouldn't read it. Don't read it. It took me like an hour one afternoon. But I really liked it. And then I read Icarus. Again, it's going right here. Which I gave a 5 out of 5. I really want to talk about this book because nobody that I've seen has talked about it, and I really do think it's a really tragic story. It's YA, but it's like one of those YAs where it's like I don't really understand why it's YA because in my head it gets so dark. But it's essentially about this thief, Icarus, who robs Mr. Black's house. Mr. Black, you find out, has a son named Helios. Icarus is flying too close to the sun. In more ways than one. And so it's like their friendship, their romance, everything with them. Spoilers. I really think that Icarus dies in the end because he has Helios on his back and they're scaling this, they're trying to get him free from Mr. Black, so they're like bungeeing down off of the building. I think he falls and dies. I need somebody else to read this book to tell me if he actually falls and dies or like if that's just my fan theory. I really gave this book a 5 out of 5 just because I think that he dies at the end, and I think that that is so hardcore to put in a YA book, to make your main character die. And it was so good, and I loved it, and it was so intoxicating to read, and it was so good. And then the next book I read was The Song of Achilles, which I also gave a 5 out of 5 because it's like same storytelling principles where it's like the writing is so good in both of these for such different reasons. It's like if you took Icarus, aged it up, you'd get Song of Achilles. And Song of Achilles was so good and so sad, and it broke my heart. It literally, I talked about it in my 24-hour readathon, so I'm not going to go super into it. Song of Achilles broke me. I read this book so fast because it was a 24-hour readathon, but also just because I wanted to. It was so sad. It was so sad. Heart broken. Heart on the floor. Broken for Song of Achilles. Then I finished Worth More Dead in that same 24-hour readathon. I'm not going to rate it because it's all nonfiction, but I did really like Worth More Dead. The writing of it, Anne Rule is just a really good writer, in my opinion. I think she could write anything, and I would probably love it, but I did really like, I need to stop playing with these. I did really like this book. I thought it was really good. Just because of the writing. I did appreciate the more personal connection that she had with the third story, or the third one that she wrote about. But that's Worth More Dead. And then Book Boyfriend, I also read in that 24-hour readathon. Book Boyfriend I gave a 3.5 out of 5. Because I was also writing Love, Hate, and Clickbait on this list, and then I realized that I did like Book Boyfriend more. So I had to have a 3.5 out of 5. there's not really a lot to say about Book Boyfriend. The ending was honestly what made me not like this book as much. Book Boyfriend, I didn't like the ending of Book Boyfriend because I feel like the author was trying to like preach to me and be like, romance books are fake and here's why and blah 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 blah. And I personally think that if I'm reading a romance book, I don't necessarily need to know that. Like, I know that it's fake. Maybe just because I've read so many. And I really didn't understand, like, I feel like he was trying to, like, preach to me in the last little bit. And the writing I didn't super jive with, but I really did like the book. It was good. There's just not really anything notable to talk about it. What I do want to talk about, though, is Indian Horse. It's a trend, I guess, on social media now, because I've heard so many people talk about it, but I'm trying to do curriculums, seasonal curriculums. So my summer one is to read more about, like, the current political system. So for that, I read the non-fiction book, Indian Horse, which I gave a 5 out of 5. I loved Indian Horse. I read it in the 24-hour readathon. I talked about it a lot in there, so I'm not necessarily going to talk about it a lot here. But I did love Indian Horse. I think I tried to describe it as a hockey book. It's not a hockey book. It is about native treatment in their own countries with their own land and all the horrific atrocities that these people have had to go through. But there's so much hope in it. And honestly, it has one of, like, the saddest endings I've ever read. It was just so good. It was so inspiring and heartbreaking and, like, so put together. And Indian Horse was just so good. It was just so good. And it's just, no more thoughts, head empty. Go read Indian Horse. Then the last book that I read this month was Iris Kelly Doesn't Date, which I gave a 3 out of 5. It was good. I think it went on a little long. I liked the ending. Maybe it's because I started at the 3rd book in the series, because it was the only one that, like, super interested me. But yeah, I just feel like it was a little long. It was a little drawn out. It was really good, though. I just think that where I was going with the 3rd book in the series, that's what I want to talk about, is there was a couple of, like, group scenes that, like, I'm sure that if I read the other 2 and, like, I actually followed the series, I would be like, oh my god, these were so good, but because I didn't and I picked it up on the 3rd one, it wasn't necessarily exciting for me, those group scenes. And then the ending was like, okay, I'm sure that if I read the other ones, I'd be like, oh my god, and this is how that connects, and that's how that connects, but I didn't. And I'm probably not going to. But Iris Kelly Doesn't Date is a 3 out of 5. And then, awards. Okay. The best book, or my favorite book that I read this month, was The Song of Achilles. I adore this book. I love this book so much. It was so cute. It was so romantic and sad, and the ending, and oh my god, and, like, everything. I love The Song of Achilles. I'm going to be thinking about The Song of Achilles for a long, long time. I love that book. And then the best sequel was Heartstopper Yearbook, because it was the only sequel. I didn't want to count Iris Kelly Doesn't Date because I didn't read the other ones, so that's the only sequel I read this month. The biggest surprise was Icarus, because it was a YA and it got really dark and it was really good, and I was not expecting to give it a 5 out of 5. The biggest disappointment was Love, Hate, and Clickbait, for all the reasons that I said at the beginning. I really wish it was just a different book. I really wish that all of the scenes that weren't in it were actual scenes, and then I would love that book. Author I will be reading from again is Chris Ripper. who wrote Book Boyfriend. I want to see what they do. I don't know if it was a debut. I should have looked that up. But I liked it. It was good. I want to read another one. The one I will be recommending the most was Song of Achilles. I love that book, obviously. Everybody loved that book like years ago. I'm finally getting around to it now. Song of Achilles was really good. The most beautiful cover. Can we get a shout out for the cover of Icarus? Because that cover was beautiful. I really liked it. It was super pretty. The like head and then like the art coming out. Which if you've read the book, you understand why the art is really cool. Favorite title was Book Boyfriend. It was the only one that was like super notable. And I just really liked how it like looped into the plot. My favorite character was from Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. I love Delilah. Am I going to read the Delilah Green book? Probably not. Did I love Delilah? Absolutely. Delilah is so much like me. That is crazy. I just love her. And then Ren, they were fantastic in Iris Kelly Doesn't Date. I loved them. Truly a queen, a star, just a really good character. I loved them. And then, okay, books that I want to talk about, because I want to read them next month. Books I have to get to, and I've already started it. We Were 8 Years in Power, yeah, by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I have to read that one. I've already started that. It's on my curriculum. I need to finish it. The Phantom of Papillion I have right here, actually. As I triangulate my position in America. This is a book that my grandmother bought me, and I already have it. So it's not like I'm like buying it. But my grandmother put me as a main character in a book. AI generated it, put my friends in the book, and I am going to read it, and I'm going to give a full overview. And essentially what I'm going to do with this book is I'm going to take it and I'm going to be like, okay, here is the current status of AI books. I would not have gone out of my way to read this. You should only read by people, in my opinion. AI has no place in writing. AI can go away for all I care. I am going to take this as a learning opportunity for you and for me so that we don't have to buy an AI book to figure out what's happening with AI books right now. I'm going to probably film a whole long video on this and be like, okay, here is the current status of where they are, here's what's happening, so that we don't have to waste our money on figuring out what's happening with the world of AI books. I'm hoping that this literally will not take long at all. I don't necessarily want to read it, but I'm gonna do it for us. And then, I also want to read Priest in July. I need to read Priest in July because this book is going to be, Books and Lala does infographics with book challenges of the month. I'm hoping I'm putting one right here. And the one that I'm doing this year is titles, and the title prompt for July is occupations. And I feel like a priest is a job. Or at least I'm going to take it as a priest is a job. So this is what I'm going to read for her challenge in July. So I need to get to that. And then I want to read The Buffalo Hunter in July because that is also on my curriculum for this summer. Summer curriculum, I've already read Indian Horse. I've started We Were 8 Years in Power. I need to read The Buffalo Hunter Hunter, and then for August I want to read One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This. And that's my curriculum of current political systems and books I've wanted to read that fit that category. And then the 2 other books that I want to read that I don't have and I don't know much about, but Anna Wallace Johnson on YouTube did a Zodiac book where she assigned 2 books to each Zodiac and was like, this book emulates your personality. And mine is a Leo because I was born the end of July, and so I'm gonna read Sex and the City and Wetlands for July, hopefully for my birthday month, and maybe it'll be my energy, and maybe I'll come back on here and go, you know what, Alice Wallace Johnson, you're incorrect. I highly disagree. Or I'll come back on here and be like, you know what, you were onto something. But that's hopefully what I'm gonna read in July. Well, that's what I have to get to in July, for my July TBR. And I'll tell you all about it, obviously. And I probably have to film my We Were 8 Years in Power initial thoughts soon. There's been a lot filmed in this shirt today. But yeah, I love you so much. I have to go edit this now. Because I can edit. And you'll see this on the 1st. Yeah. Okay, I love you, bye.